I'm here to admit that I may have been wrong about the products I'm sharing with you in today's video.
When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong.
I've changed my mind about them. Either I didn't like them initially and now I do, or I liked them and now I don't. Sometimes that just happens, but when my feelings change about products drastically, I feel like I need to share that with you. So that's what I'm doing today. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and let's go ahead and get into these products that I've changed my mind about for one reason or another. It was a long time ago when I first tried Kosas Cloud Set Powder, and I sort of wrote it off because I just didn't feel like it did much for me at all on any area of my face, my dry under eyes, or my combination oily skin that's normal around the perimeter and can have some dryness and that gets shine breakthrough during the day. I just felt like it was a very basic talc-free setting powder that set my face okay, but didn't do anything beyond that. You know, we have all these great setting powders that smooth and blur and do things to, really enhance and better our skin. And this didn't do any of that for me. And I felt like it darkened my under eye area when I set my under eyes with it. Now, the shade that I initially tried was Breezy, which is sheer light. And the shade that I'm showing you here is Airy, which is sheer very light. And what prompted me to retry this after all this time was either an Instagram reel or a TikTok. I can't remember which one, but it was a girl showing an under eye technique that was incredibly brightening and smoothing using Hostess Cloud Set in Airy and Huda Beauty in Cupcake, which I've never really enjoyed under my eyes because I find it can look a little bit drying. So it turns out Airy is a really great shade for my light, medium, bordering on light skin with neutral undertones. I first apply this under my eyes with a brush. This is the N14 with BK Beauty. I use this a lot for under eye powder. And then I take either a triangular poof or the tip of a sponge, a dry sponge. I don't use a wet sponge because this gets hard pan very easily. And I just lightly dab the tip of it into the product just to get a little bit extra product on there. And I press that anywhere I'm extra crease prone, because just applying this with the brush does not help me with creasing during the day. But I press that extra product right under my lash line and in my crow's feet area, and then I just continue pressing the puff or the sponge underneath my eye just to fuse the powder into my skin. Now, if you're someone that wants an incredibly natural powder underneath your eyes, it's going to take that wet concealer look away that can sometimes exaggerate texture and wrinkles, this is a really nice powder for that. I stand by the fact that I don't love it for the face, but I do think it is nice under the eyes. Now, I personally have been adding just a tiny bit of Huda Beauty over it, and I find it's been working well. I don't know what it is about this powder that is allowing me to wear this without it looking dry the way it normally does, but it's working. So I don't dislike Kosas Cloud Set powder the way I did. I mean, I wouldn't even look at it after I tried it that first time, but I've been reaching for this shade Airy a lot to set my under eyes. Now, one thing I haven't changed my mind about is continuing to use products that stimulate natural collagen production, because by the time we're 50, which I'm turning this year, you've likely lost 50% of the collagen that you once had. And it's not just about beauty or vanity. Collagen provides support, strength, and structure for your skin, bones, muscles, and connective tissues. So keeping your skin healthy and plump and your skin barrier intact is essential. You think about getting even older and into your elderly years when your skin can get paper thin and you're more prone to skin infections. So yes, collagen loss is one of the biggest contributing factors of visible aging, but there are so many more reasons why I continue to talk to you about things like peptides and LED red light therapy that help with collagen production to replace what we've lost. I use red light therapy masks several times a week to see brighter, healthier skin with fewer lines, reduced rosacea, and less inflammation overall, and clearer skin. And I've been fortunate throughout the years to be able to test different devices to see what I like, what I don't like, what's impressive, and what's not. And I have a select few masks that I rotate for very specific reasons. I Restore Illumina is is one of those masks that I've shared with you before, and I'm partnering with them today to share a savings code with you, more specifics about it, how it fits into my rotation, and why it might work for you. Because Illumina has more LEDs with 360 medical grade LEDs than most other masks on the market, you get quicker, better results, and it's the only mask currently on the market that lets you use red, near infrared, and blue light simultaneously to treat aging, inflammation, and acne all at once. Mode P1 is red plus near infrared to target fine lines, wrinkles, firm, brighten, even skin tone, and calm redness and inflammation. P2 is the trifecta of red, near infrared, and blue to treat signs of aging, inflammation, and breakouts all at once. I use the Illumina mask on mode P2 anytime I have a rosacea flare-up. I find it gives me quick relief, which makes sense because rosacea is an inflammatory condition that often involves bumps and breakouts. And mode P3 is blue light, which helps with acne bacteria, oil control, inflammation, and minimizes the look of pores. The clip-on battery pack allows you to move around hands-free and very easily, and it's also got a countdown timer, which I really appreciate. It's extremely lightweight and comfortable to wear and has nice mouth coverage, and is the only mask I've seen that hovers over your face for better airflow and doesn't lay directly against it, which causes my face to sweat sometimes. I reach for this mask when I'm feeling particularly hot, or if I've freshly washed my face and want to use red light therapy right after and then immediately proceed with the rest of my skincare and not worry about my face sweating. So that leads me to how this hovers over your face, which is this soft integrated eye shield here, which sits on your face very comfortably and also shields your eyes from the bright LED red light, making this a great mask for you if you have sensitive eyes and find most LED red light therapy masks overwhelming or bothersome because of the brightness. So I also reach for this mask when I want to multitask or do other things and see clearly, because that bright red LED light makes it difficult to do so with some other masks. As with any skincare or device, consistency is key. 3 to 5 10-minute sessions per week can give visible results in 6 to 12 weeks. And if for some reason it doesn't work out for you, they do have a money-back 100-day guarantee. And for a limited time, you can use code SMSKIN to save $205 off your iRestore Illumina through their website. It's also available on Amazon, and I have both links and details down below for you in my description box. I was one of the very few people who didn't fall in love with Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation, and I stand by that. I still don't like that foundation after trying it many days in various ways, as I always do when I test foundations. But I think I was too dismissive too quickly of Easy Blur Primer because of that. They launched at the same time, so of course I initially tried this with Easy Blur Foundation and a couple of other foundations, and it was okay. I didn't really hate it, but I didn't really love it either. It's a silicone-free primer, but you can use silicone-free primers with silicone-based foundations. So a few months later, I was wanting to try a different primer with a powder foundation I was wearing, and so I pulled this back out kind of randomly, and it worked really well. A lot of times powder foundations, when you are shine prone, can break up and slip off, wear away off your face really quickly. So wearing a good primer underneath is pretty crucial, and this did the trick. So I started pairing it with other foundations, and I've found that it's become a go-to primer for me. Even though it's silicone free, it has that kind of slippy silicone feel. I sort of smooth, press it on my skin, wait a minute or two, and then apply foundation, and it does seem to smooth and blur my texture and hold my makeup on for a good amount of time, the way a primer's supposed to, and I feel like it helps control my shine a little bit throughout the day too. It also works well on my dry areas. I'm really glad that I randomly pulled this out again. It's been living in my vanity. I reach for it with all kinds of foundations. I have it on today underneath House Labs, which is great, but can, get a little shiny as the day goes on. But at the same time, it doesn't give my skin a flat matte look either. It just keeps it looking the way I want it to, and I can't feel it on my face, which is huge. This one is a bit different because it has everything to do with the packaging and not what's inside, because I actually really love Tower 28 mascara. I love the way my lashes look with it, but the packaging keeps failing me, and this is my second tube that has done this. So I am probably gonna have to change my stance on this mascara. So just now, there we go, it just did it. You see that? This is my second tube where the stopper comes out, and when the stopper comes out, you end up with all this mascara gobbed on your mascara wand. So sometimes I can remedy it by shoving it back in and twisting really tightly to make sure it sticks down. Nope, that didn't work. It's still gobbed on there, and if you look up in there, you can see the stopper. You may not be able to see it because it's black. Let's try again, but you see how this can be a huge pain, especially if you're getting ready and you need to go somewhere. So it stayed on that time. This is what the wand is supposed to look like. And every time I have to shove it back on there to try and get the stopper to stick, all of this product squeezes out on the side that I have to wipe off. So despite the fact that I love the way this lengthens and separates my lashes for really nice everyday length and volume, it doesn't flake, it doesn't smudge. It's the packaging. I don't know if I'm the only one that this has happened to, but I can't think that that's the case since this is my second tube. Perhaps my eyelids have become drier over the years. That very well could be the case. If it is, this should help you out if you have dry or even flaky eyelids. So I used to love and swear by Hourglass Veil Eye Primer for setting my eyelids to keep them from creasing and helping the eyeshadows just lock in place. I don't use eyeshadow primer as much as I used to overall anymore, which is why I'm sort of just now discovering how much I don't like this now. On the day-to-day, I often reach for one and done liquid pot, stick, or cream eyeshadows that allow me to use, where is it? My City Beauty lid lifting treatment as my eyeshadow primer. Now when I wear powder eyeshadows, I do reach for one, but I have different ones in my rotation. So it's been a while since I pulled this out. I've been trying to use it and I just find it so drying now. It has kind of this thick pasty consistency and it does sort of correct any discoloration I have, which is nice, but I find it just dries down and makes me look and feel dry on my eyelids. And it used to not do that. This isn't old. I think this is a me issue. I'm just not loving it. I've been reaching for Urban Decay Primer Potion more than anything, or Milani for drugstore when I'm wearing powder eyeshadows, but this just doesn't work for me anymore. Now, when Patrick Ta first launched these cream and powder blush duos, excuse the fingerprints, this gets used, I didn't really care for them or reach for them that much. I had a couple of different shades that are now discontinued, and I just thought the formulas were fine, and it was great to have everything all in one, but you know, I have other powder and cream blushes that worked pretty much the same. I don't know what prompted me to get this particular shade. This is called Not Too Much. It is what's on my face today, and I applied each cheek a little bit differently. I applied one side the way I typically do if I'm layering creams and powders. I apply the cream blush first and then lock it in with the powder blush. And I applied the other cheek the way Patrick Ta typically does it, which is the powder first, followed by the cream. You can also apply each of these on their own because they look really pretty. I don't know what changed with me with this formula, but I really enjoy it now. I think I'm really appreciating how sheer and easy this formula is to build up and how it looks so natural. I find I am reaching for this more than some of my other blushes. I think my feelings have just changed over the years. I really appreciate having both in one, and I love the formula of the cream, how it's so sheer and easy to build and diffuses itself. I never have patchiness, and the edges are just softly blurred on their own. And the powder is just a really great formula that also allows you to build it or wear it as sheer as you want. The brush I use, by the way, is called the 4Face3 brush. I just applied the cream with this side and then the powder with this side. There are many times where I don't get the hype with products other people love for good reason, and it stays that way, but this is one where I've come around. I really enjoy this on a day-to-day basis. Now, e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush, on the other hand, is a formula I just flat out did not like when I tried it. It went viral. Everybody was loving it. I had it in this bright pink kind of berry shade, and I found that it just built up really quickly. It was very easy to wind up in clown cheek territory if you weren't careful, and it just wanted to set so quickly. It was a little bit difficult to blend out. I got some patchiness with it, and I just did not like the formula. I didn't see any reason to use it over other really good liquid drugstore blushes. I don't even have that shade anymore. I got rid of it. Did not like the formula at all. I have no idea what possessed me to throw the shade Dusty Rose into one of my Ulta orders a couple of months ago. Now, even though this is called Dusty Rose, it has some peachiness to me, but I'm thinking the blending issues have more to do with the shade than the actual formula. I've had no issues with this shade whatsoever. As a matter of fact, if this had been the shade I had initially, I probably would really love this. Now, it was really overcast on the day where I'm trying to show you this application, so I'm hoping you can see me blending it out, but this shade blends out incredibly easily and gives me a nice, beautiful wash of color. It doesn't apply too much right away. I mean, it is obviously a softer shade than a bright, deep pink would be, but I've had shades like this give me too much right away too. So even though I swore I hated e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush before, it may have been shade dependent. I don't know, but all I can say is that I really, really like this shade, this formula, and I've been reaching for it. So there you go. Let's talk about Maybelline Lash Sensational Firework Mascara. This went viral. Everybody seemed to love it except for me. You may remember me roasting this in one of my monthly favorites and fails. So the reason why this version, the waterproof version and the regular, didn't work for me is because both formulas were so incredibly wet, which isn't a deal breaker for me. I don't mind a wet mascara if it allows me to scrape some off onto the wand so that it applies nicely to my lashes, and these just didn't do that. I ended up with so much product on my lashes. I had to spend so much time combing through them to separate them from just being in little individual lash clumps. It took forever. Now, the waterproof version did hold my curl. It just took me way too much time to get it to finally look good and declumped, but the regular version was too heavy for my lashes. It always weighed my curl down, even if I put it on over a waterproof mascara that was holding my curl. And you know how a lot of mascaras perform better if you wait a couple of weeks after you initially first open them? I gave them a 2 to 3 week waiting period and tried them again, and I just still felt the same way. And then I talked to my friend Gemma, Pampered Wolf, who loves this mascara, and she swore that if maybe I gave it a little bit more time after that first initial opening of the mascara, that I might end up loving it. And so I put it in a drawer and kind of forgot about it for a little bit. And so it may have been 4 to 6 weeks after that first initial opening of the mascara, I pulled it back out, and both versions were so much better. She was right. So I just needed a longer waiting period after opening this tube for the first time for these to perform the way I wanted them to. And then I understood why people love them so much. At that point, enough product was scraping off on the wand, or maybe it just wasn't as wet as it was initially, that the right amount of product was being applied to my lashes. It wasn't too much that it was so heavy and wet. And because there are so many bristles on these wands, it was combing through my lashes the way it was intended to and separating them really nicely. Now, I usually have to comb through my lashes a little bit just because they are so sparse and thin, but I would imagine that if you have thicker lashes, you may not need to do that because of how this brush is designed. Sure enough, 2 to 3 times the extra waiting period after initially opening this tube is what I needed to understand why people love this mascara. I disliked this so much at first. I thought there was no way I would ever like it, and here we are. I have completely done a 180, and it's now a regular mascara in my rotation. I've been compiling this list for a while, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!